Well, what do I say? To all of your students, good afternoon. All I will say is this, and I will leave the floor very quickly for Dr. Arpan Patra to take over. He's from your city, from Calcutta, Gunjan. And all I will say is this, for a long time, even within institutions like the Indian Green Building Council, CII, TRIDI, and such other places, we were talking of three elements: energy, water, and waste.
Hello. Deepak?
Yes, Vijay. We have to, yeah. And what we did find is that somewhere when you talk energy, we assume as MEP professionals that air management is also part of energy. However, we know that the quality of air in nearly every city of ours is so abominable that attention from professionals requires to now get recalibrated very seriously. Not happening, I can tell you that. Across industry, the buildings industry, MEP professionals are not yet working on such things. The other you find is particularly in cities like Delhi, which is like a what is that? It's like a gas chamber in some ways. People like Payal constantly have challenges. Anybody who has a respiratory challenge will find Delhi to be impossible to live in. Now, many equipment have sort of come into the market, but they are still not meeting those requirements of PM 1.0 or PM 2.5. And Dr. Patra, I'm sure, will talk about all of those things. We must remember, all of you youngsters, students here, you must remember every day in 24 hours, you are taking in about 25,000 breaths and you're taking about 15,000 kgs of air, right? Now, we take this for granted. Most of us don't even understand what that means. All I will say is that people like, there is a person called Kamal Mittal, who is also a leader and a governing board member. Last year, I was sitting and having a chat with him in Delhi. And one of the things he said is every year for about 2 or 3 months, he leaves India. He goes to some friends of family in Munich, in Germany, and he says those 3 months or 2 months that he stays there, all his challenges on respiratory whatever is gone. Now, why is it that India cannot work on these things? What are those challenges? Where is the root cause of the challenges that not just one Delhi has got? You can come down to places like Chandigarh, Bangalore, for example, or even Mumbai, and you find that the quality of air is such that even if you are not a smoker, you're taking in an equivalent of maybe 6 to 8 cigarettes every day. And some of us, if you were to do a lung test for yourself, a pulmonary test, you'll find that your lungs in Delhi, any Delhiite will find that his profile is far worse than it is of somebody who is from a city which is smaller and does not have these challenges of air. I will leave it there for now. I will invite Yatin to see that he shows this film. So many of you are newcomers here. I'd like you to watch this film. This film was inspired by Dr. Jain, and in a way, it sets the vision and the values of the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. After which, I'll invite the faculty leaders here to quickly have a word with us all. Go on. Yes, Yatin. No, the audio is a challenge. You have to figure this out, Yatin. Every time you get jinxed and the audio doesn't work. Now, you want to try it later, Yatin? Can I request each of the
Yes.
faculty? Yes. I'll start with Professor Shweta Sahane. In one or two sentences, in a way that the key speaker of today is inspired by these ideas, can you tell us your perception of air and air management? You have to unmute, please. No, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Um, no,
Dr. Arpan Patra, we can't hear you.
Yeah. No, Professor Shweta is speaking. No, maybe you should take away that gizmo and talk to the laptop straight away.
Audible now?
Yes,
we can hear you now. Yes, please.
Okay, great. So thank you, Professor Hariharan. Thank you for giving me a platform to talk about it. Very recently, I submitted my PhD into this topic wherein I was looking at urban forest and governance. I am a landscape architect by profession. And my inquiry was this, that out of all what city is doing, as we are trying to plant trees, we are trying to increase the green cover, but what is it doing to the city and how are we governing them? So this was my inquiry, and I started looking at it very deeply, and it went on for last 6 years. And I tried finding it out that just planting tree is not helping me to reduce pollution. So if my statement is, can our cities offer air we can breathe? For me, my take is that yes, we are trying to do a lot of vegetation. We need to plant more, but there needs to be a system. There needs to be a monetary. Someone needs to monitor what are we planting, because even vegetation has its own annotation wherein there are a lot of vegetation which takes up pollution. There are a lot of vegetation which is sequestering carbon. So is there a mechanism in by which we are trying to look at that these are the vegetation which we need to increase, because our development control regulation is also trying to say that these are the native trees which one should plant. But then there should be some more study, there should be some way in which we try to tell the people that please, if at all you need to plant 5 trees, please plant one of these trees which is sequestering more.
Shweta, I see your point. We will again come back here after Dr. Patra has spoken. Dr. Rekha, since you're leaving, can you have 30 seconds of your thought shared with us? Rekha ji, just 30 seconds. Okay. She's not there. I'll go to Professor Jaideep then, very quickly in about 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone present over here.
Namaskar.
First of all, I, Professor Jaideep Kumar, Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic, Monad University, thank ISAMT for selecting Monad University for this event. On behalf of Monad University, I would like to welcome the anchor and itself the speaker of the day, Dr. Arpan Patra, Program Associate, Council on Energy, Environment and Water, who is going to give talk on can our cities offer air we can breathe. So I am sure that webinar is going to give us so many remedial measures, and I am confident that students and faculty members, they will be surely benefited from this seminar. But first of all, what we should do, we should start from the lower level. If we want to breathe a fresh air, if we want our cities give us a good quality of air, so we should start at a very lower level. Lower level, it includes villages, it includes rural areas, and we have to aware those about the environment, about the changes, about the air, that what are the measures which can improve the quality of the air. And it can be in terms of technology.
I'm sure Dr. Patra will take that into account. We will, after he speaks, I'm sure you will come back on that.
Thank you.
Professor Vishal. Yeah. Professor Vishal, very quickly, your two or three points. No, we can't hear you. You have to unmute.
So
yes.
So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell something about it. I would like to introduce one more point, that the public transportation should be used frequently, because if there will be more number of vehicles on the road, then obviously population.
So you're saying air is also related to sustainable mobility. Got it.
Yeah, correct.
We'll come back on that. Professor Pradesh, by the way, very quickly, some note from you. Professor Pradesh. Okay, Professor Jaideep, that's the last. No. Dr. Srinivas. All right, they're there, but they are not there just now. Gunjan, I'm sure you're here. Very quick word from you. You shared the city with Dr. Patra. Professor Gunjan.
So very good afternoon to all and welcome. I'm very delighted. I'm in fact eager to for this talk right now because only one word I can say to all the audience and the participant and the speaker also, that if you want to feel the importance of air, you must be in the ICU for a few days with the ventilation. You will feel the what is importance the air for all of us for life is. Even a 1 day's ventilation bill, when we punch, then we feel as air is how much costly items of this world and in for our life. Only this word I will say over to ma'am for this talk.
Very well said, Professor Gunjan Kumar. Very well said. Now, good afternoon once again to all attendees. The floor moves to Dr. Arpan Patra of CEEW, Kolkata. He will share his presentation probably and speak to us all. Over to you, Arpan.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, very good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for having me on this session as a panelist and having giving me the opportunity to speak on the topic. So before going into the topic, am I able to share my screen?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes. But just make it a slide mode.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, it
It's
is.
visible. Just have to.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
got it.
Done.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. Okay. So before starting, so I started the highlight of the main topic of this particular presentation is, can our cities offer air we can breathe? I think we have all the professors or the other panelists heard from other panelists as well. We all agree on the point that yes, our cities can offer, but we have different perspectives to it. Like like Professor Jaideep has a different kind of perspective, while Professor Gunjan has different kind of perspective. But we all know that our cities can offer the air that we can actually breathe. So I have basically made a very, very generic and very at the basic level, basic to moderate level kind of presentations on what air pollution is, how cities can actually manage the air, and what we at CW are doing. Basically, I am at CW are doing for cleaning the air. But before going into the much details, I would first introduce what CW is. CW is basically Council on Energy, Environment and Water. It uses data, integrated analysis, and strategic outreach to use, reuse, and misuse of resources. We work in a 15 sub-teams. We have total 300 plus multidisciplinary teams and 300 plus multidisciplinary researchers, and we work in 3 different verticals. The verticals one is basically what are the different enablers that will enable us for sustainable work life or sustainable finance, let's say towards sustainability. It includes sustainable finance, sustainable technology future, circular economy. Also, then what are the transformations basically where we want to see? These are basically low carbon economy, energy transitions, and after that, how our quality of life will be changing. What are the different parameters of our quality of life will be changing? It will be clean air, sustainable water, sustainable food system. I work in the clean air team as a program associate. CW is basically based in Delhi. We have also UP State Office and others, among other special initiative. We had a CW Center for Energy Finance, Powering Livelihoods and Emerging Economies. Now I'm coming to this topic. So while talking about cities, let me, this upper panel is visible?
Yes.
No. Okay. So before going for why,
You're waiting for something?
yes. Yeah. So is my screen visible now?
Yes.
Yes. So, as the topic suggests, can our cities offer the air we can breathe? Why should we only focus on cities? Because if you can see the WHO or the other international literature, it says by 2050, around 68% of world's population are going to be in cities. And after this whole presentation is over, I want you to basically think of these three major numbers. That is 4.4 billion people are currently living. That is 56% of world's populations are currently living in cities. And by 2050, the number will go to 6.5 billion. And 78% of overall world energy that we are consuming are basically consumed by cities which are having 2% of overall Earth surface. And by 2050, that consumption will going to be increased by 2 to 3 times. And 70% of this consumption is basically coming from, is basically responsible for global CO2 emissions. And out of this global CO2 emission, 14% is coming from motorized transportations. So that's why the cities or our focus are always lies in the cities. Cities are growing, and with it, the world population in the cities are also increasing. That's how we are consuming more amount of energy, and we're creating more kind of, let's say, global pollutions in terms of either greenhouse gas emissions or air pollution, something like this. Now, so while cities are growing, we need to basically focus on three major things. How these growing populations can be served in more sustainable way, how we can curb our emissions to build more resilience, and what are the anticipated climate shocks and vulnerability that we can actually going to see in the near future. Okay. Now, so this is not the first time cities are actually. So what does air pollution means? So this is a very famous photos that you can actually Google. If Delhi's air quality, it will come up like this, with the India Gate on a bad air quality days and a good air quality days. Now, what does this mean? What is bad air quality days and what is a good air quality days? So there are different pollutant parameters. If that deteriorates, that causes the bad air quality, and that actually hampers the visibility, that actually hampers our health, that will actually ultimately leads to overall economic and health problem that cities will that the cities are going to face. So from bad to good air quality days, cities need to manage the air quality. Now, when I'm talking about how to manage air quality, I should also talk about what is air pollution. So increasing urbanization has also increased the risk of air pollution. That means so before that, to explain that, I also need to say what is air pollution is. Air pollution is contamination of indoor and outdoor environment by any particular chemical, physical or biological agent. This is basically a WHO definition of air pollution that modifies the natural characteristics of atmosphere. That means air always has its own kind of characteristics that is basically helpful for us, that Dr. Gunjan was saying, that is called what fresh air is, which is right now getting polluted. And to get that, it may happen that we need to give more money or we need to give more resources. So from bad air quality to good air quality, we need to manage the qualities of the air. Now, how the qualities are getting deteriorated? It's getting deteriorated by continuous influence of different indoor and outdoor environment, contamination of indoor and outdoor environment by different chemical, physical, and biological agents. Okay. Now, what are those agents that are polluting our air? So there are two different type of agent. One is particulate pollutant and one is gaseous pollutant. Gaseous pollutant means any kind of oxides of carbon dioxide, or let's say nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, or SOx, which are basically coming from different air pollution sources like transport, like thermal power plants. And this ultimately goes into a particulate matter. Now, what does this particulate matter? These are basically called PM or particulate matter. These are kind of a particle or solid particles which actually stays or suspended in the air. And when we are breathing our air, it gets inhaled into the respiratory system and it gets deposited in the respiratory channels and alveoli, till alveoli. Now, these particles are so small that in our naked eye, you can't actually see these particles. Now, to give you a perspective how small these particles are, basically, let's say if you have a hair thread, and if you surround that hair thread with different smaller uh, PM10 particles, so you need approximately 40 such particles to surround up to circumference your hair thread. So that will give you a PM10. And PM 2.5 is basically 4 times smaller than PM10 particles. So you can see that these particles is very smaller. These particles are even smaller than the thickness of a human hair. So that means when it gets, you can't see those in your naked eye, but you are you are continuously inhaling this, and you are continuously inhaling, and it's getting impacted or deposited in the respiratory system. Now, from where these particles are getting generated? There are different primary sources of air pollution, and there are different secondary sources of air pollutions. Now, what does mean primary sources? Primary sources means these are the particular sources which actually emit these air pollutants. Like it may be dust, it may be like the suspension of dust, it may be any kind of construction activities, it may be movement of vehicles, and after different radiation or climatic factors, it get basically generated into secondary particle formations. Now the secondary particles actually grows, and ultimately it take a shape of PM 2.5 or PM10. So I have also listed out what are the different major sources of air pollution in a cities. So sources of air pollution in a cities are basically divided in 3 or 4 parameters. These are can be a mobile sources, that is the source is actually moving. It can be a stationary sources, that is a particular source or particular stack is basically emitting some of the air pollutants, or it can be an area sources. Let's say if I'm burning a whole crop crop field, then it is a source of air pollution and it's a area source. Now the mobile sources which are moving, that means a vehicle kind of sources. If a vehicle is moving, while it's moving through its tailpipe, different type of air pollutants are getting emitted. And secondary sources means thermal power plants. That means thermal stacks are there, and they are actually emitting the thermal sources. And also these are all the anthropogenic sources. That means these are human generated. There are some natural sources as well, like wildfires are there, some volcanic eruptions are there. But when we are discussing about cities air pollutions, we are mostly talking about managing the anthropogenic air pollution sources. Why? Because this can get into different parts of our health. A recent estimate basically since 12% of the global deaths in 2021, that means nearly 1 in 10, 8 deaths are actually linked to air pollution exposure. And air pollution was considered as second most leading risk factors after for deaths, global deaths after blood pressure. So the condition is that much worse, and still if we don't take action to reduce air pollution or to manage our cities air, so there will be several type of or several kind of diseases or several kind of health impact that we can actually have. Like if it impacts our brain, it can impact our lungs. Definitely, it can impact our lungs. It impacts our hearts. Also, there are several lung diseases, health diseases, pneumonia. Then for the child, it causes premature birth rate and all those things. Ultimately, it reduces what is our average lifespan. So this is how a particle that is generating from your vehicles, let's say, is actually impacting your health, and it actually impacting your life expectancy, that is a lifespan. So that's why we need to manage the city's air quality. Now, the questions is very viable. Are the cities can offer a air such that it won't impact our health? So as per US EPA model, and this whole process is basically called what is air quality management. It is cyclical process. As per US EPA, the air quality management has 5 steps. Step number 1, we must need to establish a goal. Like what are the pollutant or what are the metrics we are talking about, and what are our goals to reduce that metric. Now, second, how to determine the emission reduction, like for that to achieve that goal, what are the emission reduction for different sources we are basically thinking of? then how this reduction would happen, what are the control strategies that we'll be having. Now, to implement that control strategies, what should be our implementation program? And after we did all this, are we on track? Like, undertake the ongoing evaluations. We need to always evaluate whatever we are thinking, or what are we, how much close or how much far we are from our established goals. So I'll be basically discussing all this in details in my next slide. So as first I was saying, the step one was for this air quality management. The step one was monitoring. Like, what are the pollution levels? Unless until we don't have any idea, like what are the levels of pollutant, we can't set up a goal. If we don't know what is the air pollution levels right now, we can't say what we are achieving, what we are looking for, what are we targeting for. So the next step is creating an emission inventory. Let's say if you're sitting in a room, in that room there are several sources, like someone is burning some incense in that particular room, someone is smoking, let's say, in particular area. So from each of the sources, you need to basically inventorize all the sources, like which particular source is emitting how much. Then identify what are the major source allocation, like contribution, like from this source, if there is PM 2.5 level is 100, from different sources, how much PM 2.5 is coming. This is called source attribution of the sources. How much each source is contributing towards the total sector, total pollutions. Then you can actually devise or design your mitigation measures, so that for each of the step you will have some mitigation measures, so that overall your pollution levels can bend. And in the final step, you have a cost-effective interventions that called a decision support system. So identify what are the most cost-effective interventions that you can have, and ultimately, now you know what are the control mitigation measures, now you know what are the different attribute sources contribution to our overall air pollution. So you know what are the major air polluter. Then from that, you know what are the different control strategies you need to take. And to make it more sustainable, you need to have a regulatory design. You need to come up with a policy. That's the cities should do for a policy regulations for managing air quality. So I have briefly defined what are the different steps and how is it defined. Like, let's say monitoring, it called a systematic long-term assessment of pollutant levels by measuring the quantity and types of certain pollutants, then make a comprehensive list of different sources, then identify or determine the contribution of these sources towards the overall PM 2.5 or overall pollution levels, then understand what are the different mitigation measures that you can adopt to overall reduce the air pollution, and then what are the different decision support system that basically you want to have, and what are the different regulatory policy system or policy enforcement or implementation that you can actually think of or you can actually design. But also, let's say what PM 2.5 we say, but PM 2.5 might not be leading to a reduction in NOx. Like, if I reducing PM 2.5, it not be reducing NOx essentially, or not be reducing SOx essentially, that is sulfur dioxide or nitrogen oxides. So there is a metric that has been developed that is called air quality index. It is a weighted value of different individual air pollutant into a single number, so that a city can have a AQI that will say, see, if your AQI level is small, that means your overall air quality is managed. So in this AQI levels, overall the first step that I have mentioned, the established goals, we basically work towards reducing this AQI. Like, we have a comprehensive strategy to reduce all the air pollutions, and this AQI ranges from 0 to 500 in Indian scenarios. If the CPCB has developed this AQI, if the AQI levels is 0 to 50, it's a good. Then if it is in 300 to 500, it's hazardous. In between, there are several degrees. These are the graded system. Like during exams, like, you know, the graded system, A plus, B plus, and if you are failing, then you have you will have a grade related to that one. So the higher the pollutant level are, the AQI will increase that like that. So during winter times, our AQI levels become high. And also to reduce this PM 2.5. So now I talked what AQI and what measures are. Now I am talking about what government has taken or government has done till now. So there is a strategy that Indian government has developed in 2024 that to reduce air pollution by PM 2.5 levels by 20 to 30%. And now it has basically come to 40% of PM 10 concentrations by 2026 from a 2017 baseline. And this program is called National Clean Air Program, while all the cities has been asked to maintain their PM 2.5 level, reduce their PM 2.5 level by at least 40% by 2026. Towards that, cities have been asked to develop their strategies. Cities has been asked to develop their sectoral measures, and also they are being measured or ranked for their performances in how much they are going to reduce. So this National Clean Air Program has identified also unblocked have also several like components like air quality monitoring network, then extensive plantation program, national emission inventory. All these are basically key components of strategies throughout this NCAP program. And ultimately, it will have several research opportunities as well, like what are the different monitoring technologies the cities can develop, what are the air quality modeling, or how can it will be like more strengthened, or also how can we can forecast PM 2.5 levels for the coming 2-3 days, and also what are the different pollution control technologies, or what are the institutional governance structure that should have been in place so that the overall air pollution reduction can happen. And also this in 2024, this NCAP cities, India has basically identified 131 NCAP cities, and so that means, well, while we have India's air pollution, when we are discuss about India's air pollution and Delhi case mostly highlighted, it's not only Delhi is a pan-India problem. And there are 131 such cities, and out of those, around 41 are million plus cities which are having air pollution, which has been identified as non-attainment cities. That means they are not. That means they are having higher PM 2.5, higher air pollutant levels. And towards that, what are the major implications of NCAP? Number one, the Delhi-centric conversation has gone into a national level conversations. Now all the cities are coming up with their plans to reduce PM 2.5 level to manage their air quality. And second, the monitoring infrastructure. Previously, it was all the monitoring stations were very few in number and mostly located in cities. I remember I remember Professor Jaideep must be telling about different now the villages should be come into the pictures. So with increasing the number of air quality monitors, right now we are actually monitoring air in both cities as well as in rural areas. From 2019, there was only 215 air quality monitors, while in 2023, there are 541 air quality monitors. If you see the recent Delhi government's basically discussions for reducing air pollution, they are also saying about having more number of monitors. This having more number of monitors won't reduce air pollution, but it will give you a very granulated informations of what your cities are having, what our citizens are breathing. And from that, the city specific conversation is now going into more regional approach. That is, if a city has a PM 2.5 level, this one, it can't happen. The cities decide that particular city, like city A and city B, which is actually adjacent to city A, will have a very good air quality. So it is not basically a city level approach. It's basically a airside level approach. It doesn't basically it doesn't uh, uh, maintain any kind of city boundaries. Air pollution doesn't maintain any city boundaries. And also with this progressive monitoring framework, we have now performance linked finance. The cities which are doing good will be getting more finance, will be getting more kind of subsidies rather than the cities which are doing less. So this way the cities are also getting incentivized towards acting or better managing their air quality levels. Now, what at CW I am basically doing now, I particularly work in clean construction and sustainable mobility related work where we can actually innovate, integrate, implement for impact. Now, what does that mean? So, let's say it is a construction site where we have set up a air quality monitoring stations. As I mentioned, if I let's say if I need to manage air quality in a city, let's consider this is a city. So what I need to do first, I need to identify what are the different. So first one, establish goals. The established goal was to monitor, to basically reduce air pollution. Second was to monitor. Now to have a monitor in the construction site itself, we have basically put 9 air quality monitors with their automated air weather stations. What does that do? In this 9 air quality monitors, it is in a area of 9 acre, will actually give us very granulated informations of different particulates or pollutant level in that area itself. So the monitor which is at RES5 will give a pollutant level which might not be similar to the monitor or the labels at SCO1, because the activity happening at RES5 and activity happening at SCO1 can be completely different. And that means we are inventorizing what are the different sources or what are the different activities which are actually contributing towards air pollution of that particular site. Then, so from that, what we develop, we identify what are the different activities are basically putting air pollution or basically deteriorating the air quality at that particular site. Then from there, we develop a mechanism. We develop a mechanism for the working with the on-site workers, and the mechanism is called a feedback mechanism loop. That is, first identify or interpret the data, like which air quality monitors having a higher PM 2.5 level, then identify why the PM 2.5 is getting higher, to identify what are the measures that we can take so that the PM 2.5 levels can be reduced. That is source identification, then the decision support. And then we can actually intervene, like we can actually design different interventions and implement different interventions. Then we can actually work with the builders so that a policy can come in for that particular construction site, so that everything, so that the clean construction or what the activities which are actually generating more PM 2.5, that can be moved towards more cleaner practices, so that overall PM 2.5 or overall air quality at the site can be managed. So that's how we actually improved from different cases of non-compliance to increased compliance levels, so that our overall air quality at the site was basically managed. And then to make it more sustainable, we need to basically work with the workers so that the process or the overall culture of working towards clean construction can actually be sustainable, can actually be practiced each of the day. So we keep on giving the workers or the contractors or the builders for different kind of PM 2.5 or different kind of lecture series on PM 2.5, PM 10, how they can work well so that overall clean construction practices can be adopted at the site and the overall PM 2.5 can be managed. And I have data to show that with the clean adoption of clean construction practices, overall PM 2.5 at the site was reduced by around 40 to 44%. That means if a 9 acre site can do this, if a builder can actually offer a cleaner air for the workers or for the neighborhoods, then if a city also adopt some similar approaches, then it will also be able to manage the city's air quality. It will be more scalable. It will require more kind of resources, but ultimately it can actually offer the air or cleaner air that we can breathe. That's all from my side. You can also reach out to me from at my official email ID, and you can also reach out to me if you have some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Arpan. Well, can I invite any of the faculty leaders to first offer some quick response to what he has presented? 131 cities, he says, and he says there are not enough air quality stations to monitor things across the country. Of course, like he rightly said, the conversation is not just in Delhi today. Anyone who wants to speak, May I start with Professor Gunjan Kumar?
Yes, yes, sir. Actually, sir, I just want to know from your end that very first I want to thank you for your wonderful insight that you have presented, and very important topic impacting the every individual life without, I can say, the class and cultures and whatever it is. So with this note, I just want to learn from you when we go for any design of a system, uh, especially the air conditioning system, we considered about the indoor air quality, and and having this indoor air quality is coming from the outdoor, and reason where the mix of this percentage of outdoor air, whether it, whatever the system, whether it's school, hospital, is very important. Knowing the fact about the outdoor condition you mentioned, where to put the boundary, because you have spoken in fact the larger dimension, that is a city level, you have mentioned. So having a city level, there is so many stakeholders. So like that every city has a construction ongoing, metro construction ongoing. So I'm living right now in the airport, Kolkata airport. The metro is ongoing. My on campus, the gate was demolished because the metro work is ongoing, that due to the construction. But I'm finding my house and nearby
I got that.
apartment is filled with the dust, because there is so many dust is coming.
So the
Now,
question,
how
I
to
think,
solve such kind of problem means
yeah.
a reason I'm giving you one case studies. So
Yeah.
how to control that?
I think you mentioned, Arpan, one example of a 9-acre campus. If you gave him an in-building scale model, that will possibly address the question he has asked.
Yeah. So your questions has two level, like what are the pollution at the outdoor, and
Yeah.
what are the pollutions you are basically, what are the levels that you are actually inhaling in the indoor environment.
Sure.
Now, it's not a simple or a linear kind of relationship. Now, so what I can say, there are also some indoor air pollution sources which are actually impacting your indoor air pollution, air quality levels, and your overall health impact or overall impact in your system actually depends on how much time you're spending outdoors and how much time you're spending indoors.
Got it.
And the overall exposure and health impact is kind of assessed in that way. So my response towards your question will be key. First, we need to identify what are the major air pollution sources in your vicinity. Like, is it completely indoor or is it completely outdoor? Then have a design, or have a, like, if construction is happening in that rapid scale in the metro, and that you are saying one of the major problem, then the concerned authorities should take up some kind of responses or mitigation measures, so that the dust can't be more resuspended, or that can't be getting into the air we are breathing. Yeah.
Can I invite Professor Sandeep Narang to speak on construction and air management, because you have been advising many projects of that kind. You have worked with institutions like the WRI also on this.
But I worked on, I was working in the team of Arpan.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All
So
right.
he was my project
Yes.
leader.
Wonderful.
So I will talk on 2 points here, sir. So one is what Gunjan is saying, people tend to blame construction companies only. Whereas from the work we have done on Clean Air Better Health project, what he was presenting, CABH project. So there are only few activities or processes during the construction, and that too are depending on the climate type and soil type. So if it's a rainy season, nothing will happen. Any soil that will be good, there won't be PM 2.5, PM 10 suspicion. In Delhi or in Calcutta also, it's more of an alluvial soil where there are finer particles which get resuspended very easily. Same work happening in Surat or Baroda, we have lesser suspension. So Gunjan Sahab, you have to look at the particular area. Development work won't stop. Clean construction practices, if followed in the good spirit and the 100% spirit, they do mitigate the pollutions as desired. Very good happen. And the second point I want to talk about here is that when I go to different colleges and keep on addressing the students, I keep on telling them that there are two bigger areas where the what India engineering will be happening in that area. I talked about that to Nirma University also. One is water for everyone, water for citizen, Har Ghar Nal Yojana. Second is National Clean Air Program. And Arpan very rightly pointed out the research areas where the work has to happen. And the work will happen through architects, through mechanical engineers, civil engineers, and similar engineers. So lots of engineering has to happen. And we the Indian engineers can only solve our own problems. Nobody from Europe or from America can come and tell us, okay, you have to do this. We can have their technologies, but again, we have to modify those technologies or infrastructure as per our needs, because our positioning is entirely different. India is entirely in a way that we are into a different climate zone and lots of development happening. China is in a different climate zone. It's in a cold country. We are not a cold country, or we have more climate zone. So Indian students have got such a big opportunity to work here in this field of outdoor air quality as well as indoor air quality. I will stop here. Thank you.
Anyone else, please, who wants to add to what Mr. Sandeep Narang is? Yes, Shweta ji. You want to speak? You'll have to unmute. Yes. You have to unmute and speak. Yes. Alt A. Alt A.
No?
Yeah, you're unmuted. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Arpan. It was really nice to listen and understand. I was actually curious to know, because we are academicians and every year we have almost 90 architects coming out of our batch. So, and then we have in our institutes, we have almost 480 students whom we are trying to teach as faculties in architecture. So, I mean, somewhere or the other, I was curious that how do we all translate that to the budding architects so that they make it, they need to understand what your research and like, because you have a very structured way in which you tried saying that in the 9-acre site, you could reduce the pollution of around 45%, which is a very good finding. So is there any way in which you come and talk, or, you disseminate this knowledge to the budding architects and understand that these are the possibilities, or maybe the practicing architects also?
I agree with you, Shweta ji. I agree with you. This is, for example, this session itself is one such effort to see that if we can take it to academia, and of course to practicing professionals another day. Good point. And would you want to respond to that, Arpan?
Yeah, like all these observations or results that we are basically doing, we basically keep it as a publications at CW publications or journal article publications, where you can actually get all those ideas. And if you ask me what are the architecture's role in kind of reducing air pollution, I would say they are basically, when a city will come up with a plan, it can't be without architecture, I guess, because they are basically will help us in what kind of route mapping for, let's say, if I want to have a transport sector, for example. So they want to have what a kind of route structure and route rationalizations of public transport facilities or EV charging, all those facilities will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was wanting that, is there any way of, just because by reading the papers and all, we as faculties, we do understand, but we are also in the process of, we do research, we do a lot of research in architecture, we do research in civil engineering, we do a lot of research related to project management, etc. So maybe in some later sections, personally, I'll get in touch with you to take it further.
Agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll enable that. Professor Vishal, anything from you? Or Dr. Srinivas, Dr. Rachna? Dr. Rachna, how are you? Yes, Professor Vishal.
Yes, sir. So Monad University is nearby to Delhi. So I would like to emphasize on the Delhi air pollution actually. Government has initiated many remedial measures. As we can see, odd even concept was introduced, and then avoiding the use of diesel trucks inside the city, and construction uh, work
Got
was
it.
avoided at that time. So, and burning the crop and at that time, especially during the Diwali. So many
Sure.
air purifiers were introduced by the government. So many remedial measures were taken, but still, at the time of
Yes.
Diwali, that air pollution is as usual as it was 7 to 8 years ago. So I want to know that what the focus strategy can be implemented, or some new other innovative technology can be implemented by using that one, that this air pollution we can find some proper solution like that. So I want to know the views of the speaker, please.
Wonderful. Any quick response, Arpan, from you?
I think all the people who are actually working in this air pollution field are
I
actually
know.
working on how to developing different models here and there to basically reduce Delhi's air pollutions. Uh, and I won't say ki we are actually on the same PM 2.5 levels that we are on 7 years before and right now. Some of Delhi's air pollution is due to its geographical positions also, because this air got trapped and all those climate impact and all those are there.
Got it.
So yeah, definitely people are working, and I think
Tell
ultimately it
us,
will be
Arpan,
reduced.
this correlation in Delhi with
Yeah.
the farmers and the burning during the end of the
Mhm.
season, how much
Mhm.
of that, as a substantive whatever measure, uh, impacts Delhi itself and its air?
Uh, so there are different estimates, frankly. Different kind of models basically come up with the different numbers. Some says
Agreed.
outside there are more basically polluting
We
to
get,
Delhi's air.
what happens is it seems to become very emotive.
Mhm.
Farmers face off against the urban resident, that kind of thing. That is the reason I'm asking you. Do you think the contribution is say 20%, or is it like 80%? How significant is the contribution of the farmers and the burning?
So, so each year there is IMD releases a system
Agreed.
called Air Quality Research Support System.
Agreed.
For
Agreed.
each of the day during winter months, it actually attributes what are the percentages of residue burning happening in nearby states actually impact Delhi's air. Okay.
Okay. He's being
If you
tactful. He's not telling us what that percentage can be.
Sir, the
Sandeep, you want to add to that?
numbers are very politically guided. I have been in
Exactly.
Delhi, and
No, but-
few days ago, Pakistan's Prime Minister was accusing Punjab government that pollution is coming from
I
Punjab.
am sure.
Punjab Chief
Absolutely.
Minister was confused that my pollution is going to Pakistan, Lahore,
I know.
as well as to Delhi. So he says which direction it's going.
I
Actually,
know.
it's a very seasonal problem, sir. Delhi's problem is not at all farm fires. They happen for 15 days. 15 days we have to save that problem. But the other problems of Delhi are all belong to our own airshed, our own automobile emissions, industrial emissions. We haven't what Arpan said about the typical weather. It happens when there is a zero wind speed and the air mixing level, air exchange level, or pollutant exchange level comes down. There is no heating of the earth happening. So for 10 to 15 days, it becomes when AQI goes beyond 500. So that's
Very well said. So it's only about 15, maybe 20 days
20.
that the farmer contribution impacts the city. But then it becomes a very majorly politicized issue and becomes emotive. Architect Nandita, thank you for being here. Would you have anything to quickly share with us? You come from Bangalore. You are
Yes,
at 900 meters or a kilometer above sea level.
yes,
And the air quality here, therefore, is very different from the coastal air that you'll have in, say, Chennai or Bombay.
correct.
Yeah. So, what is your take from today?
Mm, apparently, I'm sorry.
No
Nothing
problem. You can come back on something.
Yes, yeah,
Not an issue.
yes.
Architect Nandita, for the rest of you, is from something called the Nitte School of Architecture and Design. Dr. Rachna, you wanted to say something. Rachna?
Yes, sir. Hi,
Yes,
sir.
please.
Hi, everyone. I'm
Yes.
Dr. Rachna from Manavishna University. I just wanted to add that since I am also a part of the SDG team and we are teaching SDG goals to students, so SDG 11 is basically focusing on safe and resilient cities. And so what I feel, it is very important that we should, as teachers, we should make students aware, so that the young generation, when they move forward into work line, they should be aware of safe transportation and good construction practices, and basically they should follow the resource conservation technique, because that is very important. If we talk about energy resources, if we talk about water conservation and energy conservation, and basically maintaining a good air quality, so the awareness should be done at the earlier stage to students, because this way only they can we can have a better world later on.
Understood. See, before we go to Gunjan, Arpan, let me ask you this question for the benefit of everybody here. We know that these are externalities. We cannot control those. If I have to live in my apartment or in my community, gated community or whatever, are there things that I can do? I'm echoing Professor Gunjan's question in a way that I can control it in my house.
Yeah, there are many. Like, let's say, even if you say for Delhi's air pollution's problem, Delhi has directed a kind of advisory to all the RWS to provide electric heaters, so that during the winter months, when the security guards are burning air, they can actually get the electric heater for that security guard, so that they don't burn. And this open burning is a huge issue during winters, particularly night. So these are the different things that you can do. Ultimately, nothing will change if we don't change ourselves.
Got it.
Government can give us more number of buses, but if we don't take our buses for reaching out the locations, then it won't happen. They don't basically solve the purpose in terms of air pollution.
Totally, you're right. Gunjan, you want to say something?
Yes, sir, Arpan sir, I just want to learn one thing that you mentioned about even Sandeep sir has given one good clue here that regarding the project of the construction and all. So I was just thinking that as you mentioned that some datas and all outdoor can be monitored. So my question and input that I want to look forward from you is that is the QGIS software. That is the that the QGIS software that is, it can be explored to give a mapping of the urban, because I know that this audience has so many architects. So it can be linked with the capturing the spatial data information, and then knowing the pollutant levels of outdoor. Means institute like any institute of any place, as mentioned by sir, because diverse climate conditions, can we offer that what is the plantation level can be there. They can analyze their wetlands, or there I can say the green, how much green coverage is there on that respective routes, which has the highest pollution, and the trade-off between the plantation levels of that cities. That can we work out. It may be the good input for any urban planners, or I can say the governing authorities of that cities, and that can be done. So sir, if it is possible, I look forward your support in future. I want to take it as a one project in summer, so that this meeting can be work out for a good intent, and it can be presented in future PremGen platforms for just as learning outcomes.
This is another one, Arpan, what we will do is we will connect you to Professor Shweta Suhane also. Now, Professor Gunjan is in your city, I mean in CEW. Are you in Delhi or are you in Kolkata?
I am in Delhi.
I assume that after you presented. But since you have your HQ there, you can get some people to work with the Institute of Engineering and Management. It's a very well-known institute. And I can tell you one thing. If you have anything that you can have as a program with IEM, Gunjan is one of those people who will stay with his commitment and he will lead the program. I would think that Shweta ji also will do that. That could be a definitive takeaway. I think Yatin should enable this process if you can, Yatin, because conversations of this kind have to go beyond the program itself.
Yes.
Sister Jaimini Obra is here. Jaimini, would you want to say something? Say hello to us and offer something, because I know you have been doing some inspiring work in Rajasthan. No, okay, he's not right now there. And, anyone else? We have completed the program in 65 minutes today, Yatin. Not bad at all. I think Arpan Patra was very efficient in the way he presented his
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Very crisp presentation.
Yes, very, very efficient actually, and very crisp. He had all his numbers. And anyway, Anyone else who wants to share anything at all, probably, in the next 2 minutes or so, and then we can possibly head towards closure. Anyone here? Kunjan, any other thoughts apart from the fact that you would want to possibly do a collaborative project with CEW?
Yes, sir. Of course,
Yes.
I feel this is very important discussion that we have invoked, and having this city and now concerning the health concern, because even last week I was in one discussion about in the hospital design where the in fact air quality was a major concern that we are discussing. Just consider that we all are feel blessed and have a good quality of hospital, but I'm saying you, maybe you are thinking that you are going to a good quality of hospital, but for your information I'm giving you, except 1 or 2 hospital, their system is not working on the air. So only the god given outdoor quality air, if it is not good, if you feel that you are a money in pocket and you are getting a good quality air in hospital, I'm sorry to say building doesn't mean good quality air.
Got it.
On me.
Got it,
I don't want to take the name of the hospital, but I have some few information data which prove
We'll leave that
hardly
from
1
this
or 2,
conversation.
3 hospital in a city like Metro is good, where you can taking a air on
Got that,
ventilation,
Kunjan.
which is really supposed to be.
We take
Otherwise,
your
it
point.
is not good.
We take your point. I think Mr. Jeremy Oberoi wants to speak. Jeremy?
Yeah. At that time, you could not hear to me. So
thank you.
It has been more of an informative session for me. I would have little to offer as far as the outdoor or the indoor air quality is concerned, because of my lack of knowledge in this. But yes, definitely, it's a very, very informative session. It should be distributed to all of us once we got to know the indices of various factors. And I've stopped going to north of India, Delhi for that matter, because of the pollutant factor. But whenever I've gone there, I've come back with a bad throat or a nose. And we have Professor Jyotirmoy Mathur, who keeps us busy here for our various things and measuring. And even in my building where I'm sitting right now in the hotel, which is going in for platinum interiors, we have all air quality monitors all over the building. So I would just about end up saying very, very good informative session. It's not important for me to express my point, but for me to learn from this. As the others would like to learn and have and please have it circulated, the entire procedures on the
We'll do that.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. Thank you, Yatin, all those who are there. Thank you. Very informative.
Got it. Thank you. For the rest of you, Mr. Jeremy Oberoi is talking of a building where he is just now sitting, which is one of those fine boutique hotels that he's created in Jaipur. Now, for the last 50 or 60 years, I think, he has been running a company which has built some of the finest hotels in Rajasthan, in Western India, and so on. Well, you can read about his work on the web. Rajesh Budraja wants to speak. Yatin, can you enable that? Rajesh Budraja wants to speak. Yes. Thank you. I'm not able to do that myself.
Yes, he's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Rajesh, can you say hello and speak?
Am I audible?
Yet, I think.
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
Okay, great. I'm based in Delhi. Am I audible, Dr. Chandra?
Rajesh Budraj. No, we can't hear him, Yatin. I don't think he's able to. Yeah.
No, I can hear him.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Professor Shweta, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear.
Am I audible to at least a few of you?
Yes, we all can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Chandra and the other people. I'm 72 years of age and I'm based in Delhi. I'm from IIT Kharagpur and I'm a HVAC consultant now. I'm a corporate consultant and HVAC consultant. I have for last 8 months moved out of Delhi. I spent some time in Delhi and I spent some time in Uttarakhand. Because as a consultant, I can work from remotely also. But the point I mentioned in the QA session is that I think the government, when they are giving approvals to certain type of industries, they need to guide them not to congest cities. Now, if you go to Gurgaon, you go to Noida, it's pathetic. The systems are pathetic, the roads are pathetic, everything is breaking down because nobody is bothered. And everybody comes in those high-rise buildings, people want to, crowd them. So the infrastructure is breaking down. And I mentioned in the QA, we have examples of Zoho, which chose to move out of the city and move to rural areas so that they don't crowd the city. So I think these solutions are known, but the implementation is more left to convenience. A big developer would want to develop something in Gurgaon rather than something in Hisar, which is far away in Haryana. So a small town. So since Zoho took on that initiative, and he's successful, he's probably created a small city also around his complex so that people can stay there. So I think these solutions, Dr. Chandra, are known. The question is, we in the industry, we are part, CII, FICCI, etc. We should, because at times I think we are the culprits too, because we also are industrialists. We don't want to have systems being implemented which throws us out of a city. So I think somewhere a national cause has to be far overriding a convenience point.
Well, who would not agree with you? But the challenges we all have. They are Himalayan sometimes.
Yeah, but there are examples worldwide. I mean, I traveled to Europe. My son is in Czech Republic in Prague, and what a lovely city. And they don't have crowded cities. They do a lot of work, but they move away from prime locations. So the question is that somebody in the government, and today, the central government is with majority. I am now waiting for the double engine Sarkar of Delhi to see what they can implement, because they don't have their hands bound. So maybe Delhi in next 5 years might see something better, which in the past we've not been able to see.
Let us hope. Yes. Hope springs eternal in the heart, as they say.
Yeah, so I think solutions are known, the problems are known. Dr. Arpan, what you gave as a technical information is excellent. But somewhere you should have put in some of these thoughts also, that the government needs to move.
We get
take
that.
some drastic actions. They might be unpleasant actions, but so what?
I get that.
Our grandchildren will probably thank us for that.
Now, we see your point of view, but as an independent organization and an officer representing it, CEW cannot actually be doing anything about what the government should or should not do.
No, but Dr. Chandra, our bodies, see, ISHRE is not, but bodies like CII, FICCI, ASSOCHEM, they are bodies which interact with the government on policy making.
Yeah, I agree with you. We will keep that in mind. Anyone else? I think Arpan will wind up with maybe some 1 or 2 minutes of what you think you will want the students here to take back at the end of this hour.
Okay. So first we need to know the problem. Like, we need to be more confident on what are the different type of, with the changing in the landscape, cities landscape, or with the changing in the source, a particular source itself. Let's say the number of vehicles previously used to be on Delhi's road are changing day by day. Okay. So we need more research on that particular perspective. Like, if the sources are being changing, how frequently it's being changing, and what are the overall impact on the source profiling. Okay. Then next, to act towards it. Also, with the coming of this changing of modeling and all those, with the improve of satellite model, satellite derived data and all, we can actually forecast, or we can actually take our decision upfront. And there are very there are very kind of good opportunities for each of the future research students to take up one of those particular aspect with their background information, so that we can actually have a good kind of mitigation measures.
Well, that's a good closure. Yes, Shweta, you want to add something? You raised your hand. Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to know from the panel, is there any funding in India apart from Department of Science and Technology, wherein, because we have a lot of researchers, if our master's program, we run a master's in urban design. We have shortly opened from this semester master's in urban planning. So we are wanting that if at all there is some funding platforms who can fund us, because the team is quite motivated here to do research. So if we get some kind of funding, know how that from here, these are the platforms they can fund us. We can do a lot of research related to the issues of air pollution and other infrastructure problems.
Your question, I think you're asking on behalf of every college that is present here or outside the forum.
I'm generally asking the panel because we have a diverse panel, and so I just opened the question to the floor. If someone knows that these are I'm aware about Department of Science and Technology.
Yeah.
So
anyone who wants to respond to her? Is there anyone? No, I'm asking the rest of them.
Yeah.
Anyone here amongst the faculty or among leaders in the attendee group who can respond to your question on such funding available for M plan, C plan, and all that. Nandita, I think are you here? Can you say hello again, Nandita? You have a program like that. I think you have both C plan and M plan. Is that right, Nandita? Okay.
Yes, sir, I have.
Yes.
We have both. B plan and M plan.
Do you agree with her that there should be some funding available? And are there any other thoughts you want to add to that?
Funding available. Actually, we do have certain scholarship programs wherein students apply and get. And they are working on, we have MSME projects happening in our college. So there are fundings and we are trying to reach out to them with students' ideas and things like that. So we're working with that.
Got it. Rajesh, you want to add again something? You have raised hand. Rajesh, Raja, have you raised hand now, or is it like it's been there for some time? Yeah, okay. That's it, I think, Arpan. We can close here. It's 4:15, quarter past the hour. We had a lovely session. And as I told you in the beginning, Arpan, this lecture series is now, I think, about 36 or 37 months old. And you are among, this distinguished lot of expert speakers who have shared their thoughts with students and with faculty over these months. And every last Friday of the month, we have this session. And I would urge you all, invite you all, even among the faculty leaders here, to be present into the future. We have one coming up the last Friday again of May. We will come back to you on those. Yatin, is there anything else? Sandeep, you want to add anything? Shall we close before we close?
It has been a very good session. Thank you, Arpan, for
lovely session. Thank you.
Lovely session.
Everybody else for having offered your thoughts and views.
And he's one of the youngest distinguished lecture series guests, if I'm not wrong.
I agree with you. Nice to have somebody younger presenting. Thank you so much, all of you then.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend and begin another month after. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Hariharan. Thank you, Dr. Arpan Patra and all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.